What did you actually get when you watched this show that we bet you didn't like?
Or did.
Martin was a blast from the past, and I do mean a blast.
Ooh. Martin was a 90s sitcom with catchy theme music, but the least creative lyrics ever.
Martin was a 90s show that was definitely made in the 90s.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, which watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. Today, you guessed it, we are doing the first episode of that 90s sitcom, Martin Lawrence's show called Martin. First episode is entitled Beauty and the Beast. Joining us, our co-host of the day, special guest, Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Hello, pleasure to be on Fallingtower. Thanks for having me.
Everybody knows he's the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Duke University. Cool guy, and he's wearing a Chat Pack shirt from walkinartmadebymelissa.com. We also have, man, your hair looks awesome in that bright pink. We have an actress, super smiley, super happy, one of the coolest people you will ever hope to know. Kelly Park is here.
Hello. I
feel like I'm like the opposite of everything I just said about Kelly. My name's Ryan T. Husk. Except maybe cool, yeah. But definitely not those other things. Cool. So we're doing Martin today. If you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, just type WTF and the show. That stands for Watch the First. So you could say WTF Fraggle Rock, or WTF Smurfs, or WTF GoBots, or WTF whatever you want.
Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. Hello. Right? Laverne and Shirley, that guy, that actor was in, what is his name? Michael McKean. He was in Star Trek.
Yeah. Good knowledge. I like it.
Yeah, that was Lenny. Good old Lenny.
He was in that. Things, actually. He popped up a lot in the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sorry, Kelly. It's going to get better. Trust me. And sorry to everybody at home that doesn't watch Star Trek, if there is such a thing. Okay, so let's talk about this show. Everybody in the comments below, make your suggestions, and let's talk about Martin. So, first thing we're going to do, my favorite game of the day. This is why we start with it, because it's my favorite. I'm selfish. We like to make predictions. We predict whether the other person liked it or hated it or whatever it is. Kelly's already getting stressed, like, oh shit, I don't even know Mohammed. How am I going to predict this? Who knows?
I think she's in a predicament.
Yes, could sneak in. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg calls it predicaments because we put ourselves in a predicament by making predictions, and there was also prediculations, whatever. The point is, Mohammed, I think this had enough nostalgic moments. I think you had seen this show before back in the day, and I think that you are a little bit more than lukewarm on this. I think you enjoyed it. A little bit more than 50-50. Kelly, I'm going to predict that you did not like this show for reasons I'll have to give a little later, but I predict that you were less than lukewarm and maybe even less than tepid. But what do you think, Mohammed?
So I think Ryan was very neutral on this show. Like, I think you saw some funny parts, and I think you potentially like had a couple of, a couple of little laughs in there. But I think there are other times where you're like, so I'm thinking Ryan's kind of maybe around
lukewarm,
just over a 5, but maybe over a 5, but just over 5. Kelly, I mean, I don't know you as well, but your comments in the beginning about very dated or very 90s or something like that. That makes me think maybe you're a little bit lower, maybe just below a 5. I think you appreciated some aspects of it, but I mean, the chauvinism and stuff may have gotten to you a little bit.
Well, Kelly, what are your predictions for me, and what are your predictions for Mohammed?
Predictions are, Ryan, I feel like you liked it. I think that you probably like more than lukewarm, like warm, but not hot, but like warm, just a solid, you're like, but there's definitely some moments where I bet you were yeah. But and then Muhammad, I don't know you that well, but Duke University. I think you would at least I think you liked it. I think especially if you said you've seen it before, then definitely probably liked it.
I should say I didn't say I've seen it before. Ryan said I'd seen it before.
Oh,
My predictions are confusing other predictions.
But I think you guys both both like more than liked it or just liked it, just yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so those are our predictions. Everybody at home, it's time for your fun part. You can predict right now in the live chat or in the comments below. Do you think I like this show? Do you think Kelly liked this show? Do you think Muhammad liked this first episode of this show? I should say, put that in the comments below or in the live chat. And while you're typing away, take your time, no rush, make your predictions. Muhammad is going to tell us what this show is even about.
All right. So in this show, Martin Lawrence plays Martin Payne, a radio show host on WZUP. What's up? In this pilot episode, Martin talks about male sensitivity in his show, but his excessive chauvinism and condescending comments offend his girlfriend, Gina. The episode climaxes with Martin, Gina, and their friends converging in the apartment and eventually coming to a détente on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Wow. All right, everybody. So finish up your predictions because it's time to move on to another fun game. Maybe the second most fun game. You never know. Is this even a game? Who knows? But it's what we expected versus what we got. Muhammad likes to call it Expectations. mirroring my role model, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. We compare and contrast what we expected versus what we actually got. So, Muhammad, before you watched this first episode of Martin entitled Beauty and the Beast, what did you expect, if anything?
I'd in fact never seen the show. I vaguely heard the name. I was aware, I think there was some sitcom called Martin, and pulling it up on the thing, I was like, oh, I see it. It's got Martin Lawrence. That's about as much as I knew. Sitcom involving Martin Lawrence. Didn't have any more to go on than that going into the show. So I didn't know anything about the plot or situation around it. So very little.
Kelly, before you watched this first episode, what did you expect, if anything?
I knew it was from the 90s. So I expected kind of a Friends-esque, kind of, vibe or whatever. And so I was like, okay, 90s Friends, we're going to go for it. We're going to give it a shot.
Yeah. Well, I had seen this show before, everybody.
Oh.
I remember watching this show was all the rage when I was a little guy. And if I remember being kind of in the same vein as maybe like the Married with Children or Alf or In Living Color, like the shows that were fun and cool when you're a kid back in the day. And you can't wait to go home and watch it at 8:30 on Mondays or whatever it happened to be, and then go to school the next day and talk to your friends about it. So I expected that it would be, but I don't remember much about it. I mean, I remember Martin. I remember the theme song as Muhammad said, the worst lyrics ever. Martin, just go over and over. So I remember Martin. I remember the theme song. I remember Gina and damn Gina. And, I remembered a lot of it. I remember Shanae was all the rage. And so that's what I expect. I expected to see a lot of characters that I remembered. I don't remember any specific episodes at all. I don't remember how many episodes I had seen, maybe 5, maybe 30. I don't know. I don't know how long this lasted. So that's what I expected.
5 seasons through 1997.
Wow, 5 seasons.
Yeah, 1992 to 1997.
So that's what we expected, you guys. So this is where it gets hairy. What did we actually get? Muhammad, what did you actually get?
Since I didn't have any expectations going in, I was like, okay, yeah, it's a sitcom. It fits that description. I enjoyed enjoyed the first half of it. I liked the banter between Martin and Gina. I thought that was there was a lot of like, quick, funny one-liners back and forth between them, and just that they were playing off each other in a good way. I enjoyed that half. The latter half, I was a little bit more lukewarm on, like when he was being a total jerk and stuff like that. And yeah, I didn't love the second half of the show as they came back and they started fighting in the apartment and things like that. I was like, meh. And the piece I really didn't like was that basically he got to pretend. Well, I mean, it sort of went away at the very end, but how he got to still pretend to be a manly man and like put her in her place and stuff. Like, really? Like, I didn't like that was the conclusion of the show. So that left me with a little bit of a sour taste. But there were enough funny things in there that it wasn't terrible. It was okay. So that was my take on the overall show. We can go into specifics later.
Kelly.
Yeah.
What did you actually get when you watched the show that we bet you didn't like?
Or did?
I got just very, like I said, just there were definitely some really funny parts that I liked. But just I just felt like it was very, I didn't realize how dated it felt very like, again, with the whole, I mean, like Gina like laughs at everything. And I'm like, she's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just go ahead and be okay with you being a, manly man. Give me some sugar. So, I mean, sorry, I've got opinions. Yeah.
You want to hear them all.
Yeah, definitely so. Funny. But yeah, I definitely got overall like, this was definitely made in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I got. What I got was a show that, thank goodness I saw it when I was a kid, because if I saw it as an adult, I would not think this show was funny because it was not funny. I also got a show that seems like it's like as if there was a stand-up comedian, let's call him Martin, who thought that he knew how to write a funny show because, hey, how hard can it be, right? Because, hey, I do stand-up and when I act silly, people laugh. But I'm sure that'll translate into writing for a show. And so what I got was a show that made me think of the term or the line, never meet your heroes. This kind of applies to this because many times when we look back at shows that we liked when we were kids, we go, whoa, this show is way worse than I remember it as a child. And usually that happens with cartoons. But this time for me, this time it happened with this show. I almost didn't even like Martin himself. Like the character, like I was just kind of like, he's not really that, he's kind of obnoxious. Like I remember the what's up, that's cool. And I remember the damn Gina, but then I didn't realize that was like his whole shtick. Like the whole shtick was, let me just make my funny voice. And it made me sad. I was like, damn. I was like, damn, this show, I remember it being better than this. Maybe, and that's the thing. I had not seen this first episode before. Like none of it felt familiar because I wasn't sure. Maybe I'd seen the first episode. I didn't remember which episodes I'd seen. It was all kind of a blur. So I didn't recognize this first episode. But I was just like, wow, this is not very, and not just, not just because of like, the chauvinism stuff, like, look, I can always look past something being a product of its time. I can't kill the writer for writing something that was funny at the time. Right. But I'm just thinking like, if I were an adult in the 90s, I still don't think that it would have been, the jokes themselves just weren't funny to me. There weren't even really any jokes. There was just Martin acting goofy, and that can only take you so far. But anyway, I don't mean to like totally bash this thing, but I went in hoping to love it, and boy, did they try to prove me wrong.
So you mentioned Martin. I'm curious for both of you. What did you think of the other two Martin characters, both his mom and Shanae?
Not funny.
I was really confused. I guess about I didn't expect that. That was something I got. I didn't realize, like, I started to realize once in the I think in the start of the show, like the what is it, the song or whatever, Martin,
Yeah.
whatever. I noticed, I'm like, oh, it looks like he's going to be playing a couple roles or whatever. So I don't know how they do. I did think, I wonder how they did that on a live audience.
Exactly my thinking. Yeah.
I thought that's interesting. But I thought they were the mom not funny. No, not at all. But Shanae had potential. But then I mean, yeah.
Mhm. I'd love to answer this question, Mohammed, because just like Kelly, I have a couple thoughts on this. Just like Kelly, my first thought when they brought the grandmother in was, how do they do this with a live audience? Like in a movie or whatever, a single cam, no problem. But a live audience, because the audience was laughing and reacting to both sides of the conversation. So I'm like, is it canned laughter? Is it a fake audience? I was kind of hung up on that a little bit, honestly. Like I was kind of like forgetting to pay attention because I'm just trying to figure this thing out. And then my other thought was, okay, so Grandma Ma, everybody knows, is a reference to Larry Johnson, who was a power forward for the Charlotte Hornets, and he used to do commercials as his Grandma Ma, which was funny. This was similar time. And so when he played his mom, he kept his mustache. But when he played Shanae,
that was funny.
He lost the mustache.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that was even more confused. I was like, well, yeah, it's funny to have the mustache. So why'd you lose it? Just keep it for all the
that struck me too. Yeah, it was weird.
And then the logistics of it. I'm like, I guess that's the character they do last. I do remember as a kid, bless you, Kelly.
Bless you.
I do remember as a kid, everybody liked Shanae. And yes, Shanae was the funnier of the two characters. Everybody was like, oh, Shanae. So when Shanae popped in, I was like, oh, good. We get to see her on the first episode. Funnier than the mom, but not great. But Mohammed, what did you think of those two characters?
I was confused for exactly what you mentioned about the mustache thing, because I saw the mustache on the mom and I thought that was funny. I thought she was okay. I mean, I didn't think she was hilarious, but I mean, I thought she accomplished a goal and kind of gave me a little bit of a grin as I watched it. Shanae was kind of all over the place. Since I don't remember her as a cultural phenomenon, I was in graduate school when this aired, so I mean, I was already pretty much an adult, and like I don't even remember that existed. I vaguely remember the name out there, but I wouldn't know who it was. I was just confused by Shanae. I was like, is she supposed to be trans? That would be really awful if that's what it is. Or is she supposed to be a woman? Like I couldn't tell what that was the intention there.
Right.
I have a question back for you guys too. Also, I mean, you both mentioned things about the product of its time. I mean, this came out after shows like Friends and things like that, whereas I don't feel like, I don't feel like they would have gotten away with the same sort of thing in the sense. I mean, I think the audience would have gotten away, but I can't imagine characters tolerating this kind of behavior.
It was more than just a product of its time.
Yeah.
Because the 90s weren't like that bad.
It wasn't the 60s. And we're talking about the 90s. Like, it's not that long ago.
But I think we more just mean that, like, maybe that could still fly under the radar in the 90s, whereas now there's no way. People would not only not laugh, they would make sure this show gets canceled immediately.
Yeah, it felt more like the guy from All in the Family or something like that. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, well, definitely, I think that they were not going for the transgender thing because it was the 90s. It was like it would have. Right. Yeah, it was just going for but it was definitely. I went again. Some of the comments, even I was just like, ooh,
yeah,
90s. You're getting away with some stuff, huh? Okay.
Yeah. I like Gina. I thought Gina was amazing, like in the sense of her tolerance of him. Like, wow, you are like, you deserve like a prize of some sort for tolerating all this.
However,
forgiving him so quickly on things like that. Being like, whoa, okay, you're a better person than I would be.
Right, but I think Kelly, one of you two was pointing out how she was just laughing at everything, and I was just thinking like, that's not a very good role model either. Is some guy is basically abusing you and talking down to you and being like terrible, and you're just like, what can I do? I'm just a woman. I just might as well accept it. And I'm like, she
point.
seems so intelligent and professional and sophisticated and graceful. And I found it hard to believe that she would just giggle it away and just be like, well, that's my Martin. That's why I love him. What? No, a woman like that would not love him. No woman would love him, honestly.
Not even in the 90s, I don't think.
No.
But
I don't think so. I started dating my wife in the 90s. Like, there's no way I could have gotten away with that. No
you
way
tried. You tried and it didn't work.
No, I did not try that.
Yeah. I thought the supporting cast was fine. I remembered this guy, Tommy. I remembered Cole vaguely. I just vaguely remember them. I did not remember Gina's friend here. I think that's
Pam.
Yeah, Pam. I didn't remember that character. But yeah, I remembered less about the show than I expected. But you guys had never seen it. And never really heard anything too much. But have you ever heard? You knew Martin Lawrence, the actor, though, right? The comedian.
Yeah, I've heard of him. I mean, I'm also interesting pick. I'm not usually like a stand-up or a sitcom kind of gal, anyways. I know, unpopular opinion. Don't shoot. But like, I've definitely heard of him before.
Mm-hmm.
Watched
WTF? Don't shoot me. That's a sitcom from, I think, maybe the late 90s.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Right? Had that tall lady. It had David Spade. It had that lady that was, I think, in Pretty Woman.
Julia Roberts? I was kidding.
No, the other one, like the Julia Roberts friend, the one that was her roommate, Kit. Anyway, which was also WTF Knight Rider, Kit. But you know what I think this is? I think this was just that Martin Lawrence was hot in the stand-up comedy world, and that he basically tried to make his stand-up comedy jokes into a show, like Tim Allen and Home Improvement, like Jerry Seinfeld and Seinfeld. Look, there's a reason why Seinfeld wasn't even really that good for 2 or 3 seasons, right? It got better and improved. So that's why I'm like, maybe the show just got better in season 2 and season 3 when the writers were like, okay, no, that's very funny, Mr. Lawrence, but we're going to go ahead and do it this way instead. Or something. I have a feeling
you're right. They did.
I was just going to say, I had a feeling that he may have had too much of a hand in the writing. And when stand-up comedians do that, it doesn't always work.
You're right. It imitated the first season of Seinfeld, though, with the stand-up in the beginning and then the show after that. So that matched early Seinfeld, too. Yeah, good call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just going to ask if you guys can think of any other shows that were started from stand-up comedians. Probably the Ray Romano one, right? He feels like he was a stand-up comedian guy.
Everybody loves Raymond.
And everybody hates Chris, right? Chris Rock.
Oh, Chris Rock. Yeah, that's true.
That guy was funny.
Yeah, that show was great.
I'd never seen it. Interesting. Okay. Sorry you missed out on stand-up comedy, Kelly. Stand-up comedy is very funny.
I know. Everyone loves it. And when I'm like, it's kind of one of my things. Like, everyone goes, you don't like it? And I was like, no. And it's not that I don't like it. It's just I am a sci-fi fantasy medieval junkie.
Hell yeah.
And scary. So, WTF American Horror Story, if we haven't already.
We have not done that yet. That's a great one. WTF American Horror Story on AMC, I think it is.
FX. Well, it was on FX. Now is it on AMC? I don't remember.
I thought so.
A while back it was on FX. Well, it's on Netflix, streaming on Netflix or whatever. And
nice. I forgot to add, everybody, when you put WTF and the show in the comments below, tell us where we can stream it. Saves us a lot of time of like Googling and all that kind of stuff. So just say it's on Netflix or it's on Hulu or whatever. This one was on, what was this one on? HBO Max. Right. So check that out because I know we're selling it so well right now. Kelly.
I'm sure everybody's dying to see it now.
Who was your favorite character?
My favorite character, I kind of like Shanae.
Shillelagh.
Yeah, she's just sassy and like, so, well, and then the other gal, the friend grabs her shoe and she's like,
That was
"Oh
funny.
no!" So that little exchange actually that was the one time. Not the, I mean, sorry, I'm not selling this very well either, but that was the
That's
one time I
okay.
did laugh. I was like,
Me too. When she
but
takes off her earrings and hands it to her friend, I'm like, that's right. We know
That
what
was
that
good.
means.
That was
I
good.
know. Yep. So, I was gonna say overall, I think I liked Sinead. Like I said, she gave me my comedic relief that I was hoping for at some point, any point.
What
So,
about you, Muhammad? Did you have a favorite character, and why was it Martin's mom? Wow, he laughed so hard that his screen froze.
oh no, at least it's a good spot though.
Yeah,
Like what if like
it's a good reaction shot.
yeah.
Uh, well, while we're waiting for Muhammad to unfreeze, I'll tell you
Mhm.
my favorite character, although I didn't have time to think about it. I guess my favorite character was actually the tall guy, Tommy, because Muhammad's back. So I
Yeah,
was just
sorry,
answering the
my internet
question.
froze for some reason. But yeah, it was Tommy with I think Gina's gonna hurt you bad. Sorry, I don't know, my internet froze right there.
She's bad.
No, that was your favorite character, was Tommy?
Either Gina or Tommy, one of those two.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for me it was also Tommy, I guess just because he felt like the only breath of normalcy. And I don't mean like in a comedy, you don't want normal people. You want all these wacky people, but I just felt like he was the only one that wasn't doing kind of stuff, stuff that made me cringe a little bit. And he also seemed very charismatic, seemed chill, charismatic. He also had the funniest clothes. I remember putting in my notes, I was like, wow, dude is wearing super 90s stuff. I think it was like purple and patchy. Everything was purple and patchy in the 90s. Ask our buddy Sirach Lofton. He knows all about that stuff.
Oh, poor Sirach.
But yeah, Tommy had the wackiest clothing. So that
I
made
did,
me curious to watch more episodes, not to give anything away, but just to see what Tommy will be wearing in the future. What were you saying, Muhammad?
I did like that Gina was calling Martin on his stuff. I mean, I like that. It didn't just get, even though it got dropped at the end, at least she came in mad and was calling him out for it, pushing him on it. I was like, okay, something. It's not enough, but something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the fact that she's like, oh, I can't believe you treated me like shit and we're so chauvinistic. And he's like, yeah, but maybe I can hump you or whatever he's doing. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah,
Is
that was
how we
cringy.
rectify
Yeah.
things? And she was just like, well, maybe later. I was like, wow, I don't know who writes
Only if
this
you come to
stuff.
my party.
Yeah. That guy Kevin at the party must be pretty bad.
Yeah, to tolerate that behavior on a regular basis, it must be a doozy. So, of course, it was a bunch of I think that was one of the jokes was that he was like, it was a bunch of white people that she has to
Oh
hang
yeah.
out.
I saw
So
Boys in the Hood and they're moved by it.
Oh, that was funny.
That was funny.
That was there were a few funny lines. Like let's talk about what actually was funny. She said like when they said, yeah, I fell for that. He said, I really felt for that white girl. Dude was ugly in Beauty and the Beast, which I thought was funny.
yeah.
And by the way, big kudos to Martin, the show, for having the first episode entitled Beauty and the Beast. Most shows just say pilot or episode 1 for their first episode. This one actually had a kind of a theme. I also laughed at, we got the earrings. I laughed when Tommy said, she gonna hurt you bad. Yeah, we got that one.
Onions, bunions, corn, making a salad. I thought that was kind of fun.
Okay. Oh, the one time that Martin actually made me laugh with his delivery was when, Gina was like, oh, can I talk to you in my room? He's like, no, you got to talk right here in front of my friends. And then she's like, oh, you're acting tough or what? And she says, you cried at Beauty and the Beast. And then he's like, can I see you in the room for a minute?
That was cute little beat.
That was funny. His delivery was funny there. I mean, the line was, kind of done before a million times in shows, but still okay. But his delivery really stepped it up for me. So I thought that was very funny.
I have a question.
Yes, you in the pink shirt.
Yes. do guys in the 90s, was that not okay to cry?
Yeah, I did. Like I was an
I was
adult
like,
male
I
in the
just,
'90s about his age, and it was fine. I don't remember
yeah,
that
I
being
just
such a
didn't
big
know,
deal.
was that, because that was almost like the whole like plot of the first episode, and he doesn't know men don't cry, and I was like, was that a thing in the 90s?
That was
I
very
mean,
exaggerated, I thought, or maybe subcultures, but I mean, that was
yeah,
very exaggerated.
maybe I saw. I also thought that was also like a thing that crossed my mind a lot was like cultural differences. So I was like, I don't know if I'm confused or blah blah blah, but
I
yeah,
disagree. I think that
Really?
in the 90s, it was very frowned upon for men to
Really?
cry. In fact, I think it was only maybe in the last 10 years or so that there's been an actual movement for men to act a little bit more human, show a little more feelings, to cry, to open up. I think it's great. I think it was a movement that happened right after the women's movement where women are like, hey, can we stop being so catty with each other and trying to tear each other down and try and be so competitive? Remember, there was like maybe 10, 15 years ago, women were just saying, why don't we lift each other up instead of always being in competition? And I thought that was a very productive movement. I feel like right after that, men were kind of like, maybe we can come out of the Stone Age and show some emotions sometimes
yeah,
too, you know? And so now I feel like I see it much more now. You're watching, like when I'm watching my favorite team in the whole world win a championship in the Golden State Warriors, they're crying openly, and they're not, a lot of times they're not fighting it. Back then they would still cry, but they'd be like, oh shit, people are going to see me cry,
yeah,
but
Yeah,
now
but
I think it's
it wasn't
okay.
such a big deal. I mean, if you think like in
Right.
Friends, like we saw Joey cry, we saw
Yeah, but it was a
Chandler cry.
joke.
Well, not
It
necessarily.
was
I mean,
like, ha
there were
ha, look
emotional
at the
moments,
dummy crying,
maybe
I
a little
think.
bit.
I think kind of like, for example, when nowadays, if a man is dressed like a woman, we have a much different perception of what that
Yeah.
means or how to tolerate that or how to appreciate that, or somebody might be brave or whatever. Whereas in the 90s, dressed like a woman, that's the joke.
That was
They're
a joke. That's true.
laughing. They're laughing because the man is dressed like a woman. And back
That's
in the
true.
90s, if the man was crying, that was the joke. It's like, haha, no, he's crying. Haha, little baby.
little baby.
Yeah.
Muhammad's remembering differently. He's like, nah, man, I was an adult in the 90s. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And you may be right, but that's just
again,
my
it could
memory.
be subcultures too. Some places yes, some places no.
So everybody in the comments below, let us know, because this shit is getting heated. Let us know in the comments below, was it okay for men to cry in the 90s? Or is this more of a development that's happened in the last, say, 10 or 15 years? In the 90s, was it the man's crying, what a big joke? Or in the 90s, was it the man's crying? And that's okay.
I guess it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle where like it would be unusual and it could be a joke, but it wasn't like, oh my God, don't anybody know that I did that.
Yeah, that I thought that I do think I agree that that it wasn't like, pretty, it wasn't super okay for men to cry or anything in the 90s, but it definitely I didn't realize it was going to be able to merit an entire episode.
Yeah. Says the girl that was born in 2001. What is she?
Oh, you're so sweet. Stop it.
Yeah,
Shoot.
I'm a product of the 90s, so I'm very sensitive.
Yeah, I'm a 90s. I'm a 90s. Yep. Rugrats. That was my jam. Like I said, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
WTF Rugrats. WTF Are You Afraid of the Dark? I've never seen that one, and I hated Rugrats. I saw it only for like a second, and I was like, ew, they look so ugly. I can't watch this.
Big Cynthia. Big Cynthia doll. Oh gosh, I can't.
Cynthia.
Cynthia doll is Angelica Pickles' doll, and then I have a koozie that says Big Cynthia Energy.
You have a what?
A koozie.
A koozie.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. I live in the Midwest now. So
yeah, what's a koozie?
Oh my God, this is great. I can't wait to tell my friends. Because I forgot. So did you know that like nobody calls it soda here? It's all pop.
Yes.
So when I come back, like if you go to the grocery store there on the aisles, it doesn't say like soda, it says pop. because, and then if you're looking for an aisle that says soda, you're not going to find it. But anyways, more Midwest culture. So the people here are big beer drinkers. They don't really, I mean,
I guess correctly then. It's one of those things that you hold your beer, right?
Yeah,
it's like a
you hold your beer. So it's a koozie. Like people will make sure, like if you're going somewhere, you make sure you're bringing your koozie. Like that's one of your, along with your wallet, your phone, your blah, blah, you make sure you bring your koozie.
Dang.
Like everybody has a koozie. Everybody. And then if you go somewhere and you had forgotten it, everyone has an entire drawer full of koozies for you.
Wow. So
I have like,
if you're going to a party, take your koozie with you.
Take the koozie. Always take a koozie. It's very, and then I moved to LA and everyone's like, what's a koozie? And I was like, oh, well,
right.
shoot.
And then with your friends, if they're like, I don't have a koozie, you're like, use mine.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I have 2 koozies in my car. I've got a koozie. I've got a koozie in any of my purses. Yeah. Koozies are everywhere. And then we have like 3 in a drawer downstairs. So
I'd be afraid to lose it.
Over and forgets.
How do you spell koozie? Is it COOZY?
ZIE, I think.
ZIE, okay.
I think so. Yeah.
So you have like Green Bay Packers koozies and
oh yeah,
Doug
and a lot of people do like for weddings. If you get married, that's one of the things that people cool. Will give you, like instead of matches with the date on it or whatever, you get a koozie. So
fascinating.
I know.
I like how your Midwest accent kind of started coming out of nowhere when you were talking about that, whereas I never heard it when you were here in LA.
I did a voice coach for a long time.
Really?
When I first moved out there because I had a pretty gnarly Midwest accent. So every once in a while I'll get it when I get really excited or when I get a little tipsy. And but there's some people have it more than others, like my coworker at work. Oh, you just want to go ahead and what's your date of birth? Oh, okay. And who you seeing today? And I'm like, oh, Hannah.
Love it.
That is super Midwest.
We'll definitely have to talk about that a little more a little later. Before we do that, let's finish up on Martin. I don't know how much more there is to say about this show, but
that's
all. Muhammad, did you? Oh man, I'm going to say one thing, and I swear I feel bad for this because I don't want to poop on the show because I did like it. And I feel like the people involved were obviously cool and, they don't deserve my abuse. But towards the end, I'm going to say, this is what I say in my notes. Martin tells her to get out, Gina, and then cries, right? So he cries, she comes back. And then I put, now please don't get mad at me. I'm just reading the notes that I wrote. And it said, now he tries to fuck her again. God, this humor is so infantile. Don't blame me. That's just the notes that were written here by me.
Spot on.
But did you guys have any favorite moments? Muhammad, what was your favorite moment? It could have been funny, could have been heartfelt. When they got back together, did your heart melt?
My heart did not melt when they got back together. I thought, man, Gina, you could do better. Favorite moment? I think honestly, the opening scene for me was probably the best part of the whole show. Just with the banter between the two of them before he left for work. I mean, it just it was funny, and they were being very loving and affectionate, but at the same time, having good humor with it. It was kind of once he got to the studio. I mean, the whole Eisenhower stuff was it was okay, but it was kind of downhill from there.
Yeah.
What about you, Kelly?
I would say. Like I liked my favorite part was some of the funny. I really liked the beginning, or just any time that Martin did kind of like make a like I don't know how to say it, like a white person comment, like how he has the way he speaks, and then all of a sudden he's like, and now I saw the boys in the hood. And I just thought that was really funny. I was like, I was like, yeah, I sound like that. Yeah. No. White girl over here.
That definitely made me laugh when he said, I'm going to sit next to somebody named Bob. They're always named Bob. And he's going to say, I just saw boys in the hood, Martin. All right. And that was just very funny. for me, I agree with you, Muhammad, that it started off, and it sounds like we're all kind of saying it started off pretty okay, and it just kind of felt like it was getting worse. And so for me, I was kind of like, oh, okay, it's okay, it's not that great, and then it just started kind of getting worse. Like I was very happy with the song. It made me feel good to hear that song again. And another very funny moment was when he said everybody was kung fu fighting and he's doing this. And then he did the typical joke that we all think is funny, no matter how young or old we are, where he's like, take them off, like, and he's like in the old kung fu movies. And he does like and I laughed. And then he held the Bruce Lee punch, like, whoa, By the way, everybody, do you know what Bruce Lee's favorite drink is?
Uh-oh.
Water!
Oh,
I get it. I'm going to tell that one to my dad.
Please do.
By the way, my dad's name is Bob.
Perfect.
Oh.
Has he seen Boys in the Hood?
I'm going to ask him.
Do you guys know what Bruce Lee's favorite food is? Whopper! Oh, no, that doesn't work as well, does it?
Gosh.
Anyway, moving on from that. I'm going to clip that out.
Let's talk about Kelly.
Hell yes. Let us talk about Kelly. So Kelly, first things first, you came from Iowa. You moved to LA. Why?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Hollywood dream, of course. Small town girl trying to make it in a big city. And then COVID happened. So, but I'm doing the acting thing and, just waiting tables by day and acting by night. Actually, it was flip-flop.
Yeah.
Waiting tables by night, acting during the day. So, then I was out there from 2012 until last year.
What have you been doing now?
Oh, so now I have my little I have a little baby girl. She's 4 months old.
Oh, congratulations.
Nina. Thank you. And let's see. So we had our family photos on the other day. This is, I don't know if you can see. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
There she is.
Oh.
Little Beans. We call her Nina Bean.
Very cute.
Yep. So it's just me, her, and Emrys, my wiener dog, and we're currently at my parents' house, and just live in the Midwest dream,
Sounds relaxing.
So, actually, it's really nice. It's been really nice out the last couple of days. So, a lot greener than the desert. I'll give you that. And it's just, but I do miss every day being sunny. It rains a lot here. Rains a lot.
There's
tornadoes.
Oh, sorry.
Just saying.
You do some brand promotion for Instagram?
Yes, I do. It's basically brand ambassador. So somebody will send me a brand or like something or whatever. And then like I got probiotics that I'm going to post later today. And then, they give you the little product, you kind of advertise it and you get it for free. So it's, it's brand ambassador. What's it called? Shoot. I
think brand ambassadors, right?
Stack Influence. There we go.
What influence?
Stack Influence. This is the company that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, yep. And then I started doing a couple of videos on my TikTok.
Oh, tell us about those.
Oh, well, I made a couple of like, the trends or whatever. The like I have one of Emrys sitting watching the squirrel, and it goes, "Dear diary, the squirrel's back again." That's me. And then there's like a couple of ones of Nina, and just trying to do all the trends, like trying to keep up with Gen Z, or is that the one after? Yeah. So so just that's what we're doing.
So I don't know anything about TikTok. I do know that my favorite flavor is wintergreen. But thank you. I've said that joke before. I need to retire. That's the third time I've made that joke somewhere. I don't remember where the other two, but I need to retire it. Never.
Not too bad. Okay.
Thank you. But with TikTok, is this something to where you kind of have to have like your channel or your account or your profile has to have like a theme? Like, are people following you because this is the person that that does food videos, or this is the person that does impressions, or this is the person that follows trends? And if that's the case, what would be yours? Or are you still kind of ironing that out right now?
I would probably, so far, I'm not really thinking of it. Yeah, most people do like a theme. They do a lot of people do the theme where like, it's like, funny where, sibling rivalry, and you cut to, hey bro, whatever. And then it cuts to you again with being the other sibling. And that's really funny. One of these times I might jump into that a little bit, but right now I'm just doing I'm kind of like doing all the, the ones that like the boop challenge where you tap on your puppy's nose as long as you can to the music until they do something. And a lot of golden retrievers are really cute and they just sit there and take it. But Emrys was like, is it food? Is it food, Mom? Why are you booping me? So I'm just doing the boop challenge or the Dear Diary squirrel ones, or things like that. But if I had a theme, most likely medieval. Like, I still have all my LARPing clothes, so I thought about maybe doing like a comedic, like live action role playing. But
what might be fun is you do whatever videos you do, and don't even acknowledge the fact that you're dressed like a freaking pirate, or you're dressed like a witch.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? And so people are just like, is she aware that she's like you're doing a video about booping your dog, but you're sitting there like a fairy godmother, something like that, and that could be a fun theme where they're just like, what kind of videos does she do? I don't know, but she's always dressed in something pretty awesome. I can't, it's hard for me to pay attention to what she's doing because I'm just looking at her elaborate wardrobe, because you do have a lot of really cool cosplays.
Yeah. I got a couple costumes here or there.
What are your favorites?
My favorite is I have just the medieval princess ones. Like I got I got a whole shelf full of crowns and different like the casual dress, and then I have like the big bougie Queen Anne Boleyn dresses and things like that. And then that's kind of my main sitch. So, and then I do have one like space outfit, like futuristic, post-apocalyptic kind of, theme-ish, these like pants. Well, now they don't fit anymore. Postpartum, having babies changes your body. So yeah, so I have to get some new ones, but yeah, so
really cool. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. That's fun stuff. And yeah, we've heard that having a baby does change your body. That's definitely a thing. Don't hang your head on that. That is pretty normal. And what a gift. Your baby was on our show just last time, I think. Last time you were here, you had her with you, right?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I have to just go check on her real quick. Speaking with your babies, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay.
You got it. Yeah, last time she was on was for WTF episode number 108. And Kelly joined us for Our Flag Means Death, also on HBO Max, with done by Taika Waititi. That one aired on 4/20, bro. 4/20, April 20th. So check that out. We will say that Michael, Kelly, and I had a lively discussion on that one. And if you want to know if we liked it, myself, Michael, and Kelly, everybody go check out Our Flag Means Death on WTF number 108. That was on April 20th. And Kelly's adorable baby was there, and she did show a cute little parlor trick at the end of the show. So check that out. Fast forward to the end if you have to, but the baby did do a trick. So if you like baby tricks, you're going to love that episode.
Backflip. The backflip. I bet it was a backflip.
Well, I don't want to give it away, but you're very close. You're very close there.
Juggling.
Yeah. So now, Muhammad, I'm sure you know what time it is.
It is time for the bottom line.
Right. Michael, Muhammad, and pretty much all the other bullies of the world call it the bottom line. But you and I, everybody at home, you and I know that it's really called the terrible twos. Because it's the two final questions of the show. And it's the two most important questions, right? Muhammad, do you really think it's the bottom line?
I think it's the bottom line. Aside from the fact that I'm imitating the amazing Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, I do like the bottom line. Terrible Twos is fun, though. I'll agree that's a fun thing. But bottom line.
I feel like most people agree with you and most people disagree with me, but I feel like there's going to be a comeback. It's going to be a comeback.
Everybody's right. It's a matter of opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So everybody. Oh yeah, we're ready. Oh. So this is going to be episode number 122, and everybody's going to love it. We are going to move forward into the Terrible Twos / the bottom line, and we want to say hello to Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. All this fun banter that we have between us is thanks to Michael Kenyon for making up all the fun rules to this banter, and we're just following along. All right. So
hey,
what timing?
Good timing.
What timing? Here we go.
We had to get some formula and milk downstairs, and grandparents couldn't find it. So, baby life.
You did it, though. You did it, and we're back, and we're ready to hit the final two questions of the show. Kelly and Park.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Here we go. Kelly and Park. But first, we'll start with Muhammad. Muhammad goes first because he's the brave one here. Question number 1 is, scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Martin entitled Beauty and the Beast?
I think I'd have to give it a 5.5. There was humor to it. There was some good bits, but there was a lot that I just didn't find very funny or believable. So.
Yeah, I get you. What about you, Kelly? Scale of 1 to 10? Was it like an 8, 9? What'd you give it?
2. I would give it a 2 because, I have to remember that just because this wasn't my cup of tea, it wasn't horrible. I mean, it wasn't like the production wasn't just horrible. It just was a mix of not my cup of tea. And then, just some of the stuff, most of it wasn't funny. It just wasn't, the genre is supposed to be, laughing, blah, blah, blah. And, the jokes weren't that funny. And then I wasn't a huge fan of pretty much any of the characters. So, but that again, it wasn't like they were terrible characters, just not my jam. So I will still give it a couple of points, but overall I did check to see how many minutes was left in it a couple of times.
Yeah,
that's a sign.
That happens. Well, I'll tell all of you that for me, kind of had an idea of what I was giving it towards the beginning, and it was slowly being pulled away. It was like a box of crackers. It was like, here's this box of crackers that I brought for you, but on the drive to your place, I kept eating some of the crackers, and they were eating it with the fact that it was just getting less and less funny.
How about fries getting colder as you're going away from the restaurant?
Totally. And you're eating them in the car.
You're like, this one tastes less than the previous one. Tastes less good.
I really can't give it, I hate to put it this way, I can't give it as low of a score as it deserves because it would hurt my feelings too much to do so. So I'm giving it a 4, but I do honestly feel like it may deserve lower. And I'm not saying that to bash the show. I'm saying that is what this first episode was. And anybody that disagrees, go watch that first episode. But I will say most people, if you remember this show with fondness like I did, maybe consider not watching the first. It's like that thing, don't meet your heroes, because a lot of times we watch something that we loved, and when we rewatch it, we're like, oh, Jesus, this is terrible. It's usually cartoons. A lot of times it's sitcoms, like, 80s or 90s sitcoms. But this was one of those, I was fully expecting to like it, and I was proven wrong, but I can't go any lower than a 4 because, it'll make me sad.
Yeah.
So that's what we got on a scale of 1 to 10. Question number 2 is, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Martin, entitled Beauty and the Beast. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Dr. Muhammad Noor, would you watch the second episode of Martin of your own volition?
I had no inclination to watch the second one. In fact, actually started to say, like, no, back, stop. So no.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know where this is going. Kelly, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode? Probably, right? You probably already did.
Yeah, I just polished off the first season real well. I'm gonna have to respectfully decline. If I wasn't doing this podcast, I probably would have turned it off after the first couple minutes. So,
Wow.
Yeah, second episode's not happening in my near future. Otherwise,
yeah. For myself, I will definitely not be watching the second episode. I don't have any pull to watch it at all. In fact, I have a pull to not watch it because I'd rather keep this fond memory I have of this show. Sometimes I like to talk with friends and we mention Martin and we start singing the song Martin, we remember Shanae, and we go, what's up? Whatever like that. And I'd rather just keep that happy memory of this show rather than watch it and have that happy memory kind of go down. Or maybe by episode 5 or season 2 or season 3, it gets really good, but I won't know. Because I'm just going to go ahead and keep that happy memory of this show. And it still makes me happy when I think of it. And I'd like to keep it that way. So everybody in the comments below, let us know if you've watched Martin recently. And if so, what did you think of it? And if you saw it a long time ago, what did you think of it then? And do you dare watch it again? It's a gamble. You never know. All right. Well, that's about it. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. You're always such a beacon of joy and happiness and
this was just
cosplay.
Your baby too.
Yeah. I was gonna say I would have brought the bean next podcast, but Grandma and Grandpa are trying to feed her.
Yeah, she stole the show last time.
Yeah, she's like she does more than cry now. She in sleep. She actually like laughs and stuff like that, like a real baby. Yeah. There was a hot second there. It was a little rough. But colic goes away after 10 to 12 weeks. So we're in the clear.
Dr. Muhammad Noor, thank you so much for standing in for us as a special guest co-host. You were amazing as always. So good.
Pleasure.
So
sorry about the bad internet. We have a thunderstorm happening outside right now, and that's messing with my internet a bit.
Lucky. You got thunderstorm. Kelly's talking about the rain. All we have is sun and smog and traffic and no frogs.
No frogs.
Never. I never hear frogs. Anyway.
Sorry.
Well, the LA River isn't even really a river. It's just a empty thing that the Terminator drives through.
The stream.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's about it. So what I'm trying to say is everybody in the comments below, let us know your thoughts and make your suggestions. Please give this video a like. Please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you're listening in, give us a good rating. Give us a good review. Say something nice. It's free to you, and it's like virtual gold to us. It's magic. It's unbelievable. I mean, it helps a little bit, but we really appreciate it.
Click like.
Totally.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is, boy, oh boy, this podcast was nostalgic.
This podcast was a reminder to be careful when you go back to revisit some of your old favorite shows.
This podcast reminds me that, yeah, the 90s is definitely the 90s, and things have come a long ways since the 90s.
Right, everybody. So thank you all very much for joining us. We will see you next time. And until then, always remember what Dr. Muhammad Noor likes to say on behalf of Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
On behalf of Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, remember to register to be an organ donor, and remember to watch the first of things.
Freeze frame like we're holding a baby.
That shitty smile and pretend that